Hey Naveen sir, I see only 9 people here. Like count are getting reduced day by day. There's a lot more people in the group, but very less in the classes. Like please, like have a look because I think most of them are relying on the recordings for the classes, which is not that accurate, right? They can go through the content, but they can't raise questions whatever they want. So okay, let's get started. Like it's already 7 minutes over, I guess. I'll quickly share my screen. So meanwhile, we start our new topics. Can we have the doubts, please? Anyone have any kind of doubt in system testing? Whatever we have gone through. Anyone? Akhilesh, Anjali, Ashish, Ganesh, Paramjeet.
Yes, sir.
Recap it once.
Sorry?
Just recap it once.
That I'll do. I'll summarize. But any questions? No, right?
No, sir.
Okay. So basically, we have gone through testing called system testing, wherein we understood it is an end-to-end testing, wherein our environment should be similar to production environment. Correct. So the basic idea is that we broke down the whole definition into three parts. First of all, we understood what is end-to-end testing, and then we understood what is test environment, what is production environment, and then why it should be similar. Okay, so basic idea is that what is end-to-end testing in every businesses there will be some real-time business scenarios, right? There will be some scenarios which will be basically required in order to simulate that scenario, in order to mimic that scenario. It is basically required to navigate through different module, different feature, and simulate that scenario and actually try to do it. Actually try to check whether the application is capable of handling it. We have gone through few examples. First example, Facebook block unblock feature. For an example, if a user is blocking some other people, he should not be able to send the message to other people, and when the user is unblocking the same people and adding it back, he should be able to send the message. Now the basic idea is that whenever you try to make the software live, this scenario will often occur, right? In day-to-day life, this will occur. So when before it occur in the live, before it occur in the production, we need to check whether basically the scenario is working fine or not. This is a real-time business scenario. When you move the software to the production in real time, this will happen. So we need to test it whether it is working fine or not. For that, basically what we used to do, we used to basically test it in a testing environment basically beforehand. So we used to simulate the scenario. In order to simulate, we need to navigate through different module. For an example, login module, and then add friend module, and then chat module, and then basically different module, right? A block and unblock feature, right? So that's what the end-to-end testing is saying. It's navigating through required number of feature and testing whether the software is capable of handling real-time business scenario or not. Like basically, how will you decide whether the application is capable of handling that real-time business scenario or not? Basically, if the end result is as per the requirement, then it is capable. If end result is not as per the requirement, it is failing, right? It is not capable. Now coming up to the second half, testing environment and production environment. Basically, what is testing environment, what is production environment? These are the basically servers, dedicated server, the combination, a setup used for the development purpose. It contains a hardware, software, and a network, and a server. The dedicated server which is used for the development purpose, we call it as a development environment. The dedicated software which is used for the testing purpose, we call it as a testing environment. It is a setup used to use for the testing a software. It contains hardware, software, network, and a server. So basic idea is that these all things are used in order to test the holistically. If you talk about these two servers, one is used to develop and one is used to test. In order to completely develop the software from the IT companies, and these two servers are needed. Then there is one more server called production server. Production server is basically a setup used to run the software for the real-time business. For an example, we are developing software for Amazon. So basically, Jeff Bezos will have their own server for they will just take the software and put it in that particular server and make it available for everyone, like the day-to-day life user of Amazon, right? So that particular server will be huge in size, and that particular server, we call it as a production server. First of all, your software will be here in the development server, and then they will give it to testing server. Testing server, you will connect and you will test. So many cycle will happen, module by module development will happen. Once you give the clean sheet, once you say that yeah, it is working fine, we have tested the whole software, then that particular software will be moved to production. Now, once it is moved to production, it will be open for the end users. Now, the definition is saying this testing environment should be similar to the production environment. Now, the similarity could be of any type. That's what we can understand, right? But here, you can't make it similar in terms of size, because in live, when use the when you make the Amazon website live to the end user, there will be n number of people who will be using it, like lakhs of people who will be using it. That's why this server needs to be huge in size. But testing server need not to be huge in size. In size, basically, why? There will be like a minimal number of people using this particular server, testing server, correct? Like maybe 100 or 200 or 300 or maybe 1,000. So basically, the amount of people using testing server will be way more less than the production server. That's why this particular server need not to be similar in terms of size, but similar in terms of specification. The hardware and software configuration used in the production server needs to be same in the testing server. Why? Because there might be chances, if you are using a software, testing a software in a different hardware and software configuration, different environment, and then the production environment, basically that create a chaos. Basically, there might be chances here your software is working fine, but here it will not work fine. Getting my point? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Any questions still here? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, there are certain independent topics. This is not part of your system testing, but this is are the frequently used terms or concepts in our industry. If you are going to work, you will be listening these kind of terms, and you should know what are these terms. Okay. First term, let's take build first. Okay, where is that? Yeah, build. Now basically you already know that all the programs are written in order to make the software function, correct? In order to make anything function, the developer need to write programs, correct? Even though, like, if they want to create the user interface, everything is made with the help of code, with the help of programs, correct? Now, how come that particular pages or like written instructions become a software? There is a process called build, basically build generation or build. So build is basically what? Build is the software. For an example, if we are trying to develop an Android application, you will get a build for it. What is that build? Build is a installable file which you can download and install. We used to download and install build from the Play Store and basically App Store, basically the software. The build will be, if it is an Android application, that will be .apk. If it is an iOS application, that would be .ipa. You might have heard this term previously, or even seen this particular files in your mobile devices, correct?
Yes, sir.
So basic idea is that what developer do, for an example, we are planning to develop a Android application. They write all the programs in the development environment, correct? They used to write just a okay. This developer has developed the login page. They dump the code here in the development environment. This developer developed something, dump the code here. This developer developed something, dump the code. Oh, why it is off? Okay. Now the basic idea is that they can't deploy this code here, right? They need to deploy a software. They need to deploy a file which can be installed here, right? So they follow a process called build generation. And what is that build? Build is exactly that particular file which can be downloaded and installed, correct? Getting my point? So for an example, it's an Android application. So they will deploy their code here in the development server. Everyone will deploy. Then they will do what? They will compile this whole particular code, source code. Compile means basically what? Compile means basically changing this high level language into zeros and ones, because computer doesn't understand ABCD alphabets and all, right? In order to make computer understand what exactly we want, they need to transcript, they need to change this particular language into zeros and ones, because computer only understands zeros and ones. So basic idea is that how exactly that happens is that definition. Yeah, when all the programs are compiled, then we get binaries, means nothing but zeros and ones. When all the binaries are archived, now there is a difference between archive and compress. There are two terms, similar kind of terms. There is one process called archive, there is one process called compress. You might have heard this compress, you might not have heard this particular archive thing. So what does compress do? Compress used to do what? Compress used to reduce the size of the file, correct? And basically you might have done this before, right? If you have to upload any of the picture in a particular form, and that form is saying that you can only upload a 5 MB picture and your picture is 8 MB, so you went to an online website and you try to reduce the picture, you reduce the size of that picture, correct? We used to do this, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
basic idea is that when you do this now and you use compress process, right? You use compress process. Compress process is by default a data loss process, lossy process. So whenever you reduce the size with the help of compress, basically that do what? That basically affect your quality. That basically lose the pixel. If it is a picture, that basically use the picture, and you can see that once you compress something, the picture become a little bit more blurry. Correct? So that's why while build generation, they used to archive. Archive do the same thing, they reduce the size, but they do what? They do basically um, don't do the data loss process. We don't follow the data loss process. Archive, we compress, we basically reduce the size, but we don't lose any kind of data. Okay, that's why it is being followed. Why we exactly want to archive it when it is being translated, like basically converted into binaries? Why we want to archive it? The basic reason is that when you basically archive it, compile it, no, when you hear compile it, here it is written incorrectly. We need to write it here, archive in place of compile. So like be aware of it, right? So these all programs will be compiled. And why is this necessary of archiving the file? The necessary is basically when you compile the file will be huge in size. In order to make it transferable from the test development environment to testing environment, we need to do what? We need to basically reduce the size. So once we reduce the size, we'll just transfer it from here to here. Who is responsible for transferring the build from the development environment to testing environment? Basically there will be specialized people called DevOps, or else your senior developer, somewhere development lead would, or someone will do it. Now there is one more catch here. If it is just web application, they will just take this build and deploy it here, and you will hit the URL and you will basically able to interact with it. But if it is client server based application, they will give you two build. One they deploy in the server side, one they deploy it your end. Got the understanding, everyone? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions related to this? No, right? Any questions, guys? Okay. Now, basic idea is that whenever we talked about build, right? So they in day to day life, you will ask, or they will only tell you that the software is being deployed in terms of using this particular term, right? Basically, they will tell you, okay, the build is deployed, or you will only tell, we are waiting for build for this particular feature. Can you provide us the build? We have raised a bug. Can you provide us the fresh build with the fix? Something like that. So basically every time they do the bug fix, they need to provide a fresh build because they have done some changes in the code, so they need to provide you the build. So basically these are the frequently used terms which you use in the industry, in your working days. Okay, now the build is done. Let's take up the next topic. Okay, so next topic is basically test cycle. Where is that test cycle? Give me a second, guys. Yeah, this is test cycle. Now, test cycle is basically what? Test cycle is a duration or effort spent in order to start and finish the complete testing of a particular build. Now, basically, if you get the build, right, you will estimate how much days will be invested in order to completely start and end the testing of this particular whole build. Okay, for an example, you have got a build which have A feature, B feature, and C feature. This is your whole requirement A to Z from the client that you need to develop and test. And they have just given you A, B, C. They have given you a build. So you will estimate and you will tell, okay, in order to completely test this whole build, I will take 5 days or 6 days or something like that. Okay. That effort and duration which is needed or which is invested in order to completely start and end the testing of a particular build, one build, right? That particular thing is called as test cycle. That duration is called as test cycle. Okay, now this test cycle might be of like 3 days, 4 days, 15 days, depending upon few things. What are the things? First thing, depending upon the size of the build. If the build is having only 3 features and you are 3 testers, you will be able to complete it in a shorter duration of time. If that particular build have 7 features or 10 features and you are only 3 testers, obviously it will take more time. The size of the build is basically big. That's why the duration of the test cycle will also be big. Then complexity of the application. There is only 3 features, but these 3 features are so complex. You have so many scenarios to execute. You have so many things to test. Then basic idea is that in that particular scenario, you need to do what you need to, and basically estimate uh, taking this thing in your mind that the particular feature concept is basically complex, and in order to test the whole complex feature, basically you need to invest more time. So you need to estimate in that particular point of view. So first reason, it could be like the size of the build itself is very big, so you need more time. Complexity of the build is very high, you need to invest more time, obviously. And third, number of test engineer working in project. Obviously, if you are 10 test engineer and you have a smaller build, you'll be able to complete it in a shorter duration. And if they have got like more feature and less particular number of engineer, it will take more time. So the basic idea is that these are the 3 particular points which we need to like check once before we estimate our test cycle duration. Whenever the test cycle duration is given, it is not for whole release, it will be for that particular whole build. So in order to test this build, how much time you will need? Every time the build comes, you need to give the test cycle, and after test cycle duration estimate, and after every test cycle, by default, there should be a build for you ready for testing of another feature. Got it? Any questions around it?
So test cycle means the time required to test one build, sir.
Yes, duration or time, or you can also call it as a effort. We used to estimate in this thing, right? We used to estimate one. For an example, you are constructing a building, right? So you will estimate, okay, this particular building will take around 1 month, 10 months of time to get completed. Or you will basically estimate the effort. This is the amount of effort, this is the amount of money, or this amount of labor it will gonna take in order to complete this particular building. You can estimate things in 2 ways. So basically this estimation is basically on mostly on time. So basically it's a 10 days effort, it's a 2 days effort, it's a 3 days effort, or basically you'll say that it's a 2 day 3 days duration is needed in order to complete this build. So net you can call it as a time duration which is given to completely test a particular build. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions? No.
No, sir.
Okay. These are the small concepts, individual concepts, but a little bit like important. Why? Because they will use this very frequently. They will tell you what is the duration of test cycle, where have you got this build, what all the things are in there in this particular build. So you should be understanding that time what exactly they're saying. Okay. Coming up to release. Now release, basically what release is, basically starting from the collection of the requirement from the client side, where the day one of the project, starting from the collection of the requirement from the client side, developing and testing it for so many cycles until we move it to the production, is called basically production. Is called it basically release, one release. Okay. When you move it to the production, means give it to the client. When you collect the requirement from the customer, develop and test it for so many cycle until you move it to the production, basically give it to the client, that whole particular duration or that whole process is called as one release. Okay. Likewise it happens in movie, right? uh, this particular thing will happen. Post pre-production will happen. They will do the casting, they will write the script and all. Then production will happen. They will shoot everything, and then post-production will happen. Then they edit everything, right? And then eventually they will release the movie, right? So that's what a release it in. That's what a release is in movie industry. But in software industry, what is a release? When you collect the requirement from the customer side, you can consider it as a pre-production. When you test and develop it for so many cycles, you feature by feature you develop, feature by feature you test. This is basically your production. And then basically you move it to the like a production server, right? Deploy it to the production server. Basically that is when you release the software to the customer. This whole process is called a release in the software industry. Okay. Now basically really there might be chances you are doing only one release for the customer, or customer is giving you a small piece of software, they want you to do the delivery of this, and then they will give you another piece of software, piece of requirement basically, right? So they give you A B C D E F G as a requirement. You did what you did, collect the requirement, develop and test it for so many cycle, and then move it to the production. This is one release holistically. When you move the software to the production, release is complete. Now they give you another piece of requirement, and then you start working on it. That becomes a second release. Okay. So this way the release will happen continuously. When you start working in a particular project, right? Project means, for an example, Amazon project, Google project, basically one particular client working for one particular client. There might be chances, most of the time you will see multiple releases happening, right? Because currently all over the industry is following agile methodology, and agile is used to having multiple release. Okay, this process meant to give multiple release, and each release will be named something, right? Anything. It could be in terms of this vodka, something like that, liquor names, or there will be some animal names, or there will be anything to identify it uniquely. That particular release they will name. Okay. Okay, got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Now basically this is all about release. We understood what is test cycle, we understood what is release, we understood what is build. Now there is two more terms to go. Let's take it. First one is respin. Now respin is basically what, whenever, ideally what should happen, right? Whenever you give a test cycle duration 5 days or 6 days, you should get only one particular build at the beginning of that particular test cycle, and you should complete the testing till the 6th day, and you should say that testing is completed. Ideally this should happen. But sometimes what happens, due to some blocker bugs in the build provided by developer, you will need more build. What is a blocker bug? First of all, blocker bugs are those kind of bugs which will restrict you or block you for proceeding your work, right? For an example, for proceeding your testing, for an example, you got a build, you are trying to login button itself is not working. Now this is a blocker bug for you. Until unless you'll not be logged in, how will you test other features, correct? So in this particular scenario, you will raise this bug and ask the developer to give a particular build again. Now when this will happen, you will get more than one build within that particular test cycle, isn't it? In that test cycle only, that duration only, they will give you one more build. Instead of single build, they have given you now two builds, correct? For earlier one, and now whatever with the bug fix, correct? This particular process is called as respin. So respin is not a particular build or not a particular file. It's a process. Basically, if some developer is giving you multiple build within one test cycle, multiple means more than one count, anything, right? Basically, that particular thing is being considered as a respin. So basically, if someone asks you, basically what happens, right? Whenever this build deployment will happen again, it will take a lot of time to basically install the previous one and install the new one, and basically there will be a lot more a lot more wastage of time will happen due to this again providing the build, right? So definitely you will end up not completing your work within the test cycle, right? Because you have estimated with having said in your mind that it will work fine and you will complete your testing. But if it is not working fine, you have raised the bug, they have fixed the bug and provide you one more build, then basic idea is that you might not be able to complete your work within the estimated time. So they will ask you why exactly it happened, right? Why didn't you completed your testing on time? Then you should be able to answer, okay, due to respin, it has happened. We have found a bug, we have found a blocker bug, we have raised it, and due to respin, this delay got happened. Okay, clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Sir,
So
what is the blocker bug? Please explain again.
blocker bug, yeah. So blocker bugs are those bugs you will get. We'll go through these bug types and everything in depth in defect tracking classes, but for a higher level understanding, what is a blocker bug? Blocker bugs are those kind of bugs which will block the user for proceeding further. Whatever action they want to complete, whatever task they want to complete, they will not be able to complete, they will be blocked. That's why it is called as blocker bug. For an example, I'll give you an example. We all have gone through integration testing, correct? For an
Yes,
example,
sir.
we have to do functionality testing and integration testing on a particular build which have four features. Try to understand correctly. Okay, we have four feature in a build. Test cycle duration is 6 days. First day we started with our functionality testing. Let me tell you what are the feature is, right? First feature is login, second feature is amount transfer, third feature is amount balance, fourth feature is transaction. Okay, we have got this particular four feature, and we started with our functionality testing, right? We started with functionality testing on login, then we move on to amount transfer, and then we got to know that amount transfer button is not working. Now you tell me, can we complete the testing? Can we do the integration testing between amount transfer, amount balance, and transaction without working without a working transfer button in amount transfer page? Is it possible?
No, sir.
Obviously, it is not
No,
possible.
sir.
Now that means we are blocked to basically proceed with our testing. That particular bug will become a blocker bug for us. Okay, got it?
So, sir, if you get blocker bug, then the developer will give another build.
No, if you get a normal bug also, they will give you a build. But the thing is that if in case of blocker bug, they will provide you build as soon as possible as you're blocked. Okay, they will leave the next feature development and they'll provide you a build to unblock you. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir, what's the difference in respin?
Difference, basically respin is a process of getting multiple builds. It is nothing to do with a bug. Bug could be a reason of having a respin. There could be multiple reason of having a respin. Respin is basically getting multiple builds within one test cycle. Okay, let's take the diagram and tell let me explain you this. For an example, this build 01. Okay, this is basically test cycle day one. Okay, this is the day one. You have got a build, you are testing it, and then basically due to some reasons you can't use that particular build. I'm not saying that due to a bug or something like that. Some reason you can't use this particular build. This build is not valid. Okay, then you'll tell developer, I'm unable to use this particular build. The developer will give you another build. This process of getting multiple build within one test cycle is called as respin. Getting my point? Most of the time, the reason of respin will be definitely a defect, but basically, respin will be the process of getting a multiple build. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Cool. And what is the bug and bug in this? When you raise the bug, they will give you they will give you a build. That is a fix, basically bug fix. They will give you a build with a bug fix, but that is basically nothing to do with other thing, right?
So
That
sir,
bug fix is
when
needed.
they give
Yeah.
another build, that
Hmm.
so sir, when we will raise a bug, then they will
Hmm.
provide another build. That process is called respin.
You can call it like this, but for an example, we are not even following the test cycle kind of thing, right? It is not being followed in every project. You can't estimate. They will tell you to estimate the release. They will not tell you to estimate the test cycle. So basically it is not strictly followed in. If it is not strictly followed in your project, they are not saying that anything, they're not calling out anything like test cycle. That time you will get the bug fixes, and it will be not equal to respec. Getting my point? It will be only applicable when the test cycle duration is there and you have estimated something. Okay.
So sir, if you don't have any estimated time, then it will not be called as respin.
Respin, correct. So that will be a normal bug fix build, right?
Yes sir, yes, I got it.
Cool. So in some cases it might not be equal to respin. Okay. But whatever you understood it correctly, right? If it is test cycle duration and you got another build, then
Yes sir.
basically you can call it. Okay, cool. Then one more particular thing, देखो, like whenever we do this all stuff, right? uh, we have uh, we have everything on the particular development front, and then you got a blocker bug, you ask for another build. They again do this triggering of build process, right? The whole particular programs will get compiled and then archived, and then it will get a build, and they will do first of all the fix of that particular bug, and then they follow this whole build generation process, and then they deploy the whole build. In that case, if you are deploying the whole build, that particular build needs to uninstall from the server and then install the new one. This whole process will take a lot of time, correct? This whole process, because the size of the application will be huge, and huge size application, we know that it will take a lot of time to get installed. We have seen this in our day-to-day life, isn't it?
Yes.
So the basic idea is that in order to overcome this, they created something called as patch. They created a concept, something called as patch. Okay, so I'll show you a diagram for that, so that it will be more clear. There is the example of patch. Yeah. Okay, cool. This is a rough diagram, but let us understand what exactly the patch is. So for an example, this is build 01. Build 01, they have A, B, C, D feature. Okay, 4 feature. Now they need to deploy one more build for next test cycle. So this whole A, B, C, D feature will be already there in the server, correct? And if they want to deploy a new build, they have to do what? They will start working on that particular, on top of this A, B, C, D build, and they will generate more features like E, F, G, H, I. Getting my point? They will have more particular features. So in that scenario, what I'm trying to say, they create a patch. What is a patch? This will be build number 2, which will have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. This build number 1, A, B, C, D. What they do as part of patch, they will they will create a smaller build which will only have these changes, and then particular patch like this will only have E, F, G, H, I. This will become a patch. It will be a difference of the build number 2, earlier shared build, and current latest version of the software. This will be the difference of it, and it will only have the changes, the updation, or if you have any kind of bug fix, that particular thing will be there. Okay, and then they used to deploy only this particular thing in the particular testing server, so that the time of reinstalling the build, the whole software will get reduced. A most common example which you have seen in your day-to-day life, I can tell you of patch. Dekho, whenever we try to update any software, have you ever seen that the update is the same amount of size which the software was when you downloaded first. For an example, you downloaded WhatsApp initially. You don't have WhatsApp in your particular mobile, and it is basically 120 MB. Whenever you get the update is basically 30 MB, 20 MB, 40 MB. It will be never equal to the whole WhatsApp, right? So basically what that update is a patch which is having only the modified feature, only the changes, only the bug fixes, and it will be a smaller software which will get a very less amount of time to get downloaded and installed. Getting my point?
Yes.
Are we clear, everyone?
Yes,
So
sir.
that will also be a file which will get settled in your already existing software. Now patch you can have what? Basically patch can have your modified feature, already existing feature. D is an already existing feature. They have updated something inside D. The patch will have that particular change. Okay. If you are deleting something, the record of deleted feature can also be have in that particular patch. So basically, if you have deleted C, it will have a deleted record of C, so that when you install this particular patch, it will go and delete C from the already existing feature. That can happen. And also the bug fix and the new feature, obviously. If you have done some any bug fixes in B, that can also be there in your patch, and also the new feature will be there. All E, F, G, H, I, you can see it, right? Got it, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So any new thing, any changes, anything basically that can be there inside your patch. So what is the definition of patch? It is a small software which consists the modified program, the new program, and record of deleted program. So what does these features are? Basically the programs, right? So you can have a modified feature. You can also say in this way, you can have a modified feature, the new feature, and the record of deleted feature, basically. Okay, got it?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
So like this is all for the individual topic. There is one more topic called hotfix. So what is hotfix? Hotfix is basically, I'll tell you, when sometime what happens, right? We used to test everything beautifully, but sometime what happens, when we move the software in production, there will be few number of bugs which will be there live with the end users, which will be found in the production. The fixing of that bug in production itself is called as hotfix. Okay, what they will do, they will fix it in their development environment and post it as soon as possible, post the patch as soon as possible in the production server. Before posting it to the production server, they will give it to us. What happens, I'll show you with the diagram. Okay, for an example, we move the software to the production, and feature A is getting break due to some reasons, right? This bug is there in the production, not the testing server. So even if it is 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or any time, right? If it is live, the developer need to take instant action. They need to fix that particular bug. Once they are fixing that particular, they are done with the fixing, they will deploy the changes in our particular server. We'll test it and we'll quickly move that change fix in the production server. Okay, this whole process is called a hot fix. Okay, so basic idea is that sometime what happens, right? They also follow this process. They used to do what? They used to do the changes. They will directly deploy it to the production server. They'll ask you to connect to the production server and test whether it is happening perfectly fine, whether it is working perfectly fine or not, or else this way they will first deploy to the testing server, ask you to test, and then deploy it to the production server. Okay, but what is a hotfix? Whenever the bug is found in the production server, the developer need to fix it instantly. Whenever they fix it, and in the production itself, whenever the software in the production itself, that particular fix is called as hotfix. Are we clear?
Then, sir, what is the difference between patch and hotfix? Both of the fixes you are getting through.
Your
I
patch
mean, Play Store or
your patch could be deployed in the testing server also. Here we are
Yes.
fixing the bug through patch. Getting my point? Yeah, we are definitely fixing the bug, and we are fixing the bug through patch. Why? Because we don't want to reinstall the whole server, whole software in the production. What we are doing, we are just deploying a small piece of software called patch. The patch will have that particular fix. So even though if you want to update anything in the production server, then also you will provide patch. The patch is a process of reducing the amount of effort of deployment. Getting my point? And what is hotfix? Hotfix is specifically calling it out with the bug fix, right? We are deploying the fix of bug with the help of patch. That doesn't mean it is equal to patch. So hotfix is totally a particular bug which is found in production and which needs to be fixed and as soon as possible. Okay. Patch is update, basically small update of software, but it might have a bug fix, it might not have a bug fix. If it is have a bug fix and your bug is in the production, you can call this process a hot fix. Okay, are we clear?
So sir, if there is a bug, then only we can deploy hotfix. Otherwise, if update or any
Hot
feature
fix,
addition, then it's called as patch.
yeah, means a hot fix is not a file. Hot fix is a process, name of this process. Whenever you find this bug in the production and they do the deploy the fix as soon as possible, this whole process is called as hotfix. There's nothing a file here. Okay, you always
So
call it
that
as a patch. That file you call it as a patch, but this process you call it as a hotfix. Okay.
yes sir. Yes.
Oh yeah, cool. I got your confusion there. Cool. So basic idea of that whenever you deploy the bug fix with the help of patch, you can call it as a patch. You can call it the bug fix has been deployed. But this whole process, right? The whole chaos. When they will be talking in the meeting, they will tell that hot fix has been done or not. The fix has been done or not in the production. So that time they were talking about the whole scenario, not the file. Okay, got it?
So sir, if the bug is found in testing environment, not in production environment, then that process is called as.
That is normal process, normal testing process. You found a bug.
Okay,
There
sir.
is no
Yes, sir.
specific term for that. Only if you
Yes, yes.
have a bug in production server, then only you can use
That will be called as hotfix.
hotfix. Correct.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Any other questions around it? I'm planning to wrap the session for today. Tomorrow we'll start a new topic. That's why we are we end this topic. We have come to an end this topic. No questions around it?
सर सोर्स कोड को पूरा कंप्रेस करने आर्काइव करने को बिल्ड कहते हैं ना सर?
देखो ये पूरा बिल्ड एग्जैक्टली क्या होता है, तुम मेरे को बताओ. बिल्ड होता है एक फाइल. this process is called as build generation. What is a build is a file, end result of this whole process. देखो ये पूरा सोर्स कोड है तुम्हारा, इसको कंपाइल किया, इसको आर्काइव किया. आर्काइव करने के बाद तुमको एक फाइल मिलेगा. You will get a file. That file is called as build, and this whole process is called as build generation. Okay.
Okay sir.
Cool. Any other questions? No? No questions? Yes, no, कुछ तो बोल लो भाई.
No.
सर.
ओके, चलो ठीक है. ठीक है, तो फिर हम लोग कल मिलते हैं. तुम लोग बहुत साइलेंट हो यार, मतलब इसके लिए थोड़ा तुम लोगों को करना पड़ेगा. You need to be more interactive as I'm seeing this from the beginning of the sessions. You guys need to be more interactive. मेरे को पता नहीं चल रहा है कि तुम लोगों को कितना समझ में आ रहा है, frankly speaking. क्योंकि जिस फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल तुमको कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा होगा और मेरे को पता ही नहीं होगा, तो मैं और इन डेप्थ जाके उसको कैसे क्लैरिफाई करूंगा, तुम ही मेरे को बताओ. Correct. So like even if you are understanding, you can say like, yeah, I'm understanding, or no, I'm not understanding this part. I'm not understanding. I'm feeling that I'm not that clear in this particular topic. I will give multiple examples, right? So this is needed, because I want everyone to be clear at least for like 60 to 70%. Here I'm creating a base for you guys, right? Manual testing is a base for testing itself. This is very basic, really conceptual things which you should bare minimum know, right? So if you are not clear in these topics itself, then it will create a lot more chaos in your life, in your working life. Okay.
Yeah.
It will affect your interviews also. That's why I'm saying. Okay. So कोई भी like 10% का भी confusion रहेगा, you should ask. ठीक है? चलो. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then see you guys tomorrow.
Sir?
Have a great day. Yeah.
Actually, today one drive came related to software engineer and skills related to generic journal means the skills the journal will be preferred means generic what journal skills.
General skills means basically office skills and all. Like you should have basic knowledge of computer and all. That's what I understand. But I'm not like part of that drive. I'm not the right person to
But
say.
sir, it is written software engineer for software engineer only MS Office would not. So it's for analyst or means testing part.
Okay. Is it for testing? Is it for testing?
So we don't know. It's shared in the common group, sir. Actually.
Means I'm not having a correct knowledge for this. Like I'm not aware about this drive. So you can ask in the group itself. They'll answer
Okay,
this.
sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll tell you. So I'm not pretty much aware about the drives and all most of the time. But yeah, if you find this difficult, if you want me to check with Sid, I'll check with him and get back to you. Okay. Even you can check with Sid. Sid is responsible for that. Who's
Okay, sir.
in like starting and ending the meeting, right? That person.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. It's not for testing. He's saying. But yeah, you can check one more time. Just give it a luck. Okay. Okay then, guys. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Yes, sir.